Hey everyone! Before we get into the video, I'm curious. What country are you watching from? Drop it down in the comments. I'd love to see where you're all from.
The forest did not breathe that night. Every tree stood like a witness to something ancient, something that should have stayed buried. Even the moon hesitated behind a veil of cloud, as if afraid to look directly at what it had seen once before. And Seren Ardent walked straight into it. She had no lantern, no guide, only the whisper of the wind and the weight of her own disgrace. The failed prophecy still echoed in the corners of her mind like a cruel joke. The night she had spoken it, fire had fallen from the sky. The king's son had died, and the court had turned on her as if she'd summoned the flames herself. They had called her a liar, a witch, a fool who had tried to see too far, so she ran. Now, her boots sank into damp soil as she entered the forgotten forest spoken of only in the oldest songs, the one said to devour those who trespassed, leaving not even bones behind. But Seren wasn't afraid of being devoured. She was afraid of being nothing. She clutched the silver pendant at her throat, a relic from her mother, who had once whispered, "When the stars refuse to speak, listen to the wind." The wind tonight spoke of sorrow, and something else, a pulse, like the faint rhythm of a heart that should no longer beat. The air shimmered faintly ahead of her. Mist moved unnaturally, parting, reforming, as if something alive was breathing through it. Serene stopped, fingers tightening around the dagger hidden beneath her cloak. "Show yourself," she said, voice steady despite the tremor crawling up her spine. The mist obeyed. From it stepped a man, or what might have once been one. He was tall, with midnight blue hair that caught the faintest glint of starlight. His coat, dark as the night around him, shimmered faintly with hues of violet, and the pauldrons on his shoulders seemed to drink the moonlight, not reflect it. His features were sharp, carved from something older than time, and the faint point of his ears marked him unmistakably as not human. But it was his eyes that struck her, the kind of eyes that looked at you as if they'd already mourned you. "You shouldn't be here," he said, voice low and even, as if he had said it countless times before. "I could say the same," Seren replied. "This forest isn't supposed to have anyone left in it." His lips curved slightly, not in amusement but recognition. "You believe what they tell you?" "Not anymore." He stepped closer. The earth beneath his boots seemed to ripple faintly, like water disturbed by a stone. "Then why come?" Seren hesitated. How could she explain the emptiness clawing inside her, the desperate need to find something, anything that proved she wasn't cursed to ruin every life she touched? "Because the world stopped listening to me," she said quietly. "And I need to know if it was ever listening at all." For a moment he said nothing. Then, so softly it nearly vanished into the wind. It listened once. "But it lied." Seren frowned. "You speak as if you've seen it." He turned his head slightly, eyes catching the dim glow of her pendant. "I have. I watched it burn." "You were there?" He looked at her, and in that moment, something unseen stirred in the trees. Branches twisted as if reacting to his presence. The mist thickened again, curling around his figure like smoke returning to a flame. "What's your name?" she asked. He hesitated. "Names are dangerous things." "I asked anyway." He studied her for a long time, long enough for her to feel the weight of centuries in that silence. "Rin Thalos," he finally said, and the forest seemed to whisper it back, like it remembered. Her breath caught. She knew that name. Everyone did. The vanished Fey prince who had supposedly led his realm into ruin 100 years ago. The creature mothers warned their children about. "You can't be—" "I am," he said simply. "You're supposed to be dead." "I was." Silence fell again. Rin looked past her, toward the darkness stretching endlessly through the trees. "You should go back to your world, human. It's not safe here." She gave a hollow laugh. Neither was there. Something flickered in his gaze then. Not pity, but recognition. The kind that comes from knowing pain well enough to stop naming it. He turned slightly, as if dismissing her. "The forest doesn't let mortals leave easily." "Then it shouldn't have let me in." Rin's jaw tightened. "You don't understand what walks here. This place remembers the war that ended us. It feeds on what's left. Good, Seren said quietly. Maybe it will feed on what's left of me, too. He turned back, eyes narrowing. For the first time, a faint hint of anger, or was it concern, darkened his expression. You speak carelessly of death. I've already been buried, she replied. They just forgot to dig the grave. Something changed in him at that. The wind stilled. Even the mist seemed to pause. He stepped closer, close enough for her to feel the faint hum of something not of this world radiating from him. His voice dropped to a near whisper. You should not wish to be devoured by the forest, Seren Ardent. Her heart skipped. How do you know my name? He didn't answer, but his eyes softened, just barely, because the forest remembers everything it has ever taken. That night, neither of them slept. Seren sat by a dying fire, the forest groaning faintly around her, and Rin stood in the shadows like a sentinel. She didn't know why he stayed, or why, when the wind howled. He glanced toward her as if ensuring she was still there. And somewhere in the blackness between the trees, something older than both of them stirred awake. It had waited a long time for this. For a fae who had once defied his realm, and a human who had once defied her god. The world had forgotten their names. But the forest hadn't. When dawn came, it didn't look like morning. The light was gray and cold, filtering weakly through branches that twisted together like ribs. The forest had no birdsong, no rustle of life, only the constant hum of unseen magic beneath the soil. Seren Ardent stirred from her half-sleep beside the fire, her cloak drawn tightly around her shoulders. The air smelled faintly of ash and rain. She turned, expecting to find Rin gone. He wasn't. He stood a few feet away, half-shadowed by an ancient tree, his gaze fixed on the horizon as if he could see through the fog. In the pale light, his hair caught shades of indigo, and faint runes shimmered beneath the fabric of his coat. They pulsed softly, like a heartbeat that wasn't entirely his. Do you ever sleep? She asked quietly. Rin didn't turn. Not anymore. Why? A pause. Then, because sleep belongs to the living. Seren frowned, standing slowly. So you're dead? He looked at her finally, his eyes a color she couldn't name, something between silver and stormlight. I told you last night. I was. She crossed her arms. And now? Now I'm something the world shouldn't have remembered. The silence that followed was thick. She wanted to ask more, but his expression warned her that some questions had teeth. Instead, she asked, Where does this path lead? It doesn't, he said simply. Then where are you going? He turned slightly, eyes flicking toward the shadows behind her. Away from what hunts me. Something cold crawled down her spine. What hunts you? He hesitated. The same thing that will hunt you now. They began walking. Seren didn't ask why he let her follow. She didn't need to. Every part of this forest whispered her death, yet somehow his presence made it bearable. Even as he walked ahead, silent, graceful, inhuman, she could feel that strange current of energy that wrapped around him like a shield. The forest bent around him. Literally. Branches leaned away. The mist parted. Even the ground softened beneath his boots, as though afraid to touch him too harshly. Seren tried not to stare. Tried not to notice how his movements were both human and not. Too smooth, too quiet. You're not just fae, are you? She asked. No. Then what are you? He stopped walking. A warning. They reached a clearing, a hollow ringed by broken stones and overgrown roots. The air there felt different. Thicker. Charged with something old. Rin looked around warily. Don't speak. Don't touch anything. Why? The forest is listening. Seren exhaled through her nose, half mocking. Let it. But as soon as she said it, the mist stirred violently. The ground trembled underfoot, and the stones began to hum faintly. Rin stepped in front of her, his hand raised. The runes under his coat flared with violet light. Something invisible recoiled, like a wave breaking against a barrier. Serene's heart pounded. What was that? The forest testing you. For what? To see if you belong. And if I don't? He turned to her. Then it will eat you. Rin lowered his hand slowly. The glow faded from his runes, but not completely. Up close, she saw faint cracks, on his skin where the light had shone through, like fractures, filled with liquid silver. You're bleeding light, she whispered. He didn't answer. She stepped closer despite herself. Does it hurt? Only when I remember. What do you remember? He looked away. Too much. Serene hesitated, then said softly, You said you were being hunted. His jaw tightened. The forest has rules. When my kind broke them, it broke us in return. Some of us faded. Some of us turned to ash. I remained. But the forest didn't forgive me. Why didn't you fade too? He looked at her, something sharp in his voice. Because I refused. Her breath caught. It wasn't arrogance. There was fury in those words. Grief too. And now? She asked. Now the forest sends its ghost to remind me I shouldn't exist. Before she could respond, a sound split the silence, low and distant, like a horn blown underwater. The trees shuddered. Rin's expression darkened. It found us. What did? He turned sharply to her. Run. I'm not leaving you. Run, Seren! His voice carried power this time. Real, ancient power that tore through her mind like thunder. Her knees almost buckled, but she obeyed. She stumbled back through the mist, hearing branches crack and something monstrous moving between them. She turned once, just once. Rin was standing in the center of the clearing, his hand outstretched. The air around him glowed with fractured light, violet and white and burning, and from the mist came shapes, shadowed, shifting, inhuman. Not beasts, not fae, something older, something that wore memory like skin. Seren gasped, tripping backward, her heart hammering. The shadows reached for him, and for a moment, she thought she saw them pulling at him, trying to drag him into their endless dark. Then everything went white. A burst of light erupted from his chest, blinding and silent. The forest screamed, and then, silence. When she woke, she was lying in the grass, the mist thinned to threads. The clearing was empty. Rin? No answer. She stood, disoriented, the air still buzzing faintly with magic. The ground was warm beneath her boots as though a fire had passed through it. Rin, a voice came behind her, soft but steady. You shouldn't shout here. She spun around. He stood at the edge of the clearing, unharmed, but there was a faint crack in the obsidian plate over his shoulder, a thin streak of light leaking through. Her relief surprised her. You're alive. He gave a faint, humorless smile. Alive enough. She looked at him for a long time, then said, You saved me. He turned away. Don't mistake necessity for kindness. Then why do it? He didn't answer right away. When he did, his voice was low, almost unreadable. Because the forest isn't done with you yet. That night, the forest was quiet again. But Seren couldn't shake the image of those shadowed things, or the way Rin had looked as they closed in. And deep inside her, beneath fear and confusion, something else began to stir, something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Because if Rin Thalos could defy death itself, maybe she could defy her fate too. By the third night, Serene stopped pretending she would find her way out. Every trail bent back on itself. Every tree looked the same. Even the stars shifted above her, moving when she wasn't looking, changing the sky's shape like a trick of memory. Rin walked ahead, silent as ever. The light that sometimes flickered beneath his coat had dimmed, though faint traces of it still glowed through the cracks in his armor. He hadn't spoken since the attack. Seren watched him from a few steps behind. She wanted to ask if he was in pain, but something about him felt sacred and untouchable, like speaking too loudly might make him disappear again. Instead, she said softly, "Those things, the ones that attacked us." "What were they?" "Echoes," he said. "Echoes of what?" He hesitated. "Of what I did," she frowned. "You said the forest punished your kind for breaking its rules. What did you do?" He stopped walking. The air around him shifted, colder, sharper. "I loved a human," he said quietly. Serene froze. He didn't turn to face her, just kept speaking, voice flat and almost mechanical, as if the words themselves were dangerous. She was the first mortal allowed in our realm, a peace offering, a bridge between our worlds. I thought love could hold the bridge together. He paused, his jaw tightening. I was wrong. The forest whispered around them, one carrying faint voices that sounded too much like sighs. Seren's throat tightened. What happened to her? Rin's fingers brushed the cracked edge of his pauldron. She died. Because of me. Because I thought I could change what's written into the roots of this world. Seren swallowed. You mean the laws between Fae and mortal? He nodded once. Every bond has a cost. Ours was a realm. The fall of your world, she whispered. It wasn't a war, was it? Rin turned, finally meeting her gaze. No, it was love. They walked in silence again. Seren's mind spiraled with questions she didn't dare ask. When they stopped to rest, she noticed the way he lingered at the edge of the firelight, never quite letting it touch him. Does it hurt? She asked again, gesturing to the faint light bleeding through his skin. It's not pain, he said. It's memory trying to escape, Seren frowned. You make it sound alive. It is. The forest feeds on memory. It's how it survives. It stores pieces of what it takes. And me? She asked. What does it want from me? Rin's gaze flicked to her pendant, the silver one that always grew warm when the wind stirred. It wants what every ancient thing wants, he said, to finish what it started. She felt a chill run through her veins. What did it start? Your prophecy. Seren went still. The prophecy that ruined me, she said, her voice sharper now. You think this forest had something to do with that? I know it did, Rin replied. Prophecies don't come from gods, Seren. They come from places, from the veins of the world itself. This forest has been speaking to mortals for centuries. She stepped closer, disbelief fighting with the ache of something she didn't want to remember. That's impossible, is it? He said softly. You walked straight into the forest that called you by name. Her breath caught. How do you... I told you, Rin interrupted gently. The forest remembers everything it's ever taken. That night, she dreamt. Not of fire, not of the court that had exiled her, but of roots. Endless black roots winding through the earth like veins, pulsing faintly with light. At the center of them was something vast and ancient, sleeping, and in its dream, she heard her own voice whispering the words of her prophecy. Only this time, she understood them. The fallen prince will rise again when the seer returns to where the world began. She woke with a start. Rin was already watching her from across the dying fire, eyes faintly glowing in the dark. You heard it, didn't you? He asked. She didn't answer, still trembling. How could you know? Because it wasn't just your prophecy. Serene stared at him. What do you mean? Rin stood slowly, the light in his veins flickering brighter. It was mine too. You spoke it centuries ago before your world remembered what you were. That's not possible, she said. I wasn't even born. His voice was soft. You think time moves in one direction, human. But this forest, it bends it. It swallows it. You are here because it remembers you. Seren shook her head, stepping back. No, you're lying. I wish I were. The wind rose suddenly, whipping her cloak around her. The trees creaked. The ground pulsed faintly beneath her boots, like something enormous had just taken a breath. Rin's voice dropped low. It's waking. What is? The heart of the forest. He looked at her then, expression unreadable. And it's calling you. She didn't sleep after that. Neither did he. They sat in silence until the first light broke the horizon, though the forest never really brightened. Rin stood, pulling his coat tighter. We go north, he said. Why? Because the heart lies there, and if we don't reach it first, it will come for you instead. Seren rose slowly, hand brushing the pendant at her neck. It pulsed faintly against her skin, once, twice, like an echo of her own heartbeat. She met his gaze. And if we do reach it? Rin's expression didn't change. Then you'll learn why I was never allowed to die. The path north was no path at all, just a corridor of pale trees whose trunks twisted in slow, silent agony. Their roots curled like fingers, gripping at the soil as if afraid to let go. The further they went, the quieter the world became. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Seren felt the air grow thicker, almost liquid. Every step made her bones hum, as if the earth was listening. Rin walked ahead, his glow faint but steady. The light beneath his skin flared whenever they crossed a stream, or an arch of stone carved with runes too old to read. "Why does it feel like we're being watched?" she whispered. "Because we are," he said simply. Her heart stuttered. "By what?" He didn't look back. "The things that remember me." They passed what might have once been a shrine. Broken pillars half swallowed by moss. The remains of a fey statue whose face had been worn smooth. The air smelled faintly of burnt honey and rain. Seren paused, tracing a fingertip over a shard of stone. "Was this part of your realm?" Rin stopped, his hand brushing the nearest trunk. The bark shimmered faintly where his fingers touched. "It was everything I ever built. The hollow road. It led to the heart, back when the heart still knew mercy. And now," his eyes flicked toward her, "now it leads to judgment." They kept walking. The silence between them felt heavier than before, filled with unsaid things, unspoken memories that pressed at the edges of her mind. By dusk, mist had thickened around them, wrapping the forest in silver. Seren could barely see Rin ahead, just the soft pulse of light that marked his presence. "Rin?" she called quietly. His voice came back low and close, though she hadn't seen him move. "Stay where the ground breathes warm. The cold patches, those are hollows. They remember death." She froze, glancing down. The earth beneath her boots was faintly steaming like it exhaled. A few feet to the left, the soil was black and still. "You know too much about this place," she said softly. "I should," he murmured. "It's made of what's left of me." Something rustled in the mist. Seren turned sharply, but there was nothing, just shadows shifting where the light couldn't reach. Then a whisper. It was her voice. "You promised you'd come back." Seren's stomach twisted. He was beside her in a breath, hand on her arm. "Don't answer it, but don't." His tone was sharp now, commanding. The mist recoiled from his voice. "The forest will try to use what it remembers of you. Don't give it more." Her throat tightened. "It sounded like me." "It was," he said. "A memory stolen and replayed," she swallowed hard. "Whose memory?" He hesitated, and that hesitation was answer enough. They made camp beneath an ancient willow, whose branches drooped low like curtains. Rin sat at the edge of the clearing, sharpening a blade that gleamed darkly, like obsidian dipped in moonlight. Seren sat opposite him, staring into the dim firelight. "You said the forest feeds on memory," she said. "If that's true, what happens when it runs out?" Rin didn't look up. "It never runs out. It just takes more. From us? From you," he corrected. "Mortals remember harder. You burn faster. It likes that." She stared into the flames. "And you? What does it want from you?" Rin's hand stilled. "Redemption." The fire popped. The sound made her flinch, breaking the moment. He set the blade aside and rose, the faint light under his skin dimming to a soft violet glow. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we reach the hollow gate." "What's there?" "The first route," he said, "and the truth you were never meant to remember." When he walked away, Seren watched the trees sway above them, whispering to one another in a language that wasn't wind. She touched her pendant. It burned faintly now, alive with pulse and light. And in the far distance, the forest breathed again. This time, she could swear it whispered her name. They reached it by dawn, if dawn could even exist in a forest that never truly woke. The trees opened into a vast clearing, their roots rising into arches that glowed faintly from within. At the center stood a gate of woven branches, blackened with age and slick with dew. It didn't look built. It looked grown. Seren felt her pulse stutter. "That's it?" she whispered. "The hollow gate?" Rin nodded once, gaze fixed on the structure, the threshold between what was and what still remembers. The air hummed around them. Every breath tasted like iron and rain. The ground beneath the gate shimmered faintly, alive with threads of light that pulsed like veins. Seren stepped closer before she could stop herself. "It feels like it's breathing." "It is," Rin murmured. "It guards the heart. Every soul that ever entered was asked to remember the truth before passing through." What truth? He turned to her, and for a moment his eyes glowed brighter than the gate itself. The one you've been running from. Seren's mouth went dry. I don't even know what that means. You do, he said quietly. You just buried it. Before she could reply, the gate shifted, branches curling open like ribs parting. The hum grew louder, resonating in her bones. Rin drew his blade, though it seemed pointless against something so alive. Once it opens, he warned, you'll see what was taken from you. Don't trust what it shows. Serene's voice was barely a whisper. And if I do? He looked at her then, something raw flickering beneath his calm. Then it will keep you. The gate pulsed once, then opened. Light poured out, but it wasn't blinding. It was soft, golden, like sunlight through honey. Serene stepped forward without thinking. She felt warmth brush her skin, a whisper in her mind. You've been here before. Seren, Rin called. His tone was sharp now. Stop. But the light wrapped around her wrists like silk, pulling her gently forward. She gasped as the forest melted away, her feet sinking into something warm and soft. And suddenly she was elsewhere. A grand hall stretched before her, draped in silver and gold. Fey nobles stood in silence, faces blurred, watching her. At the center was him, Rin, but not as he was now. His armor gleamed, his crown bright as starlight. He smiled at her like she was salvation. Siren, he said, stepping down the dais. You came back. Her throat closed. This isn't real. It was, he said. You promised me forever. She shook her head. I wasn't. This isn't. He reached for her hand. His touch was warm, familiar. Her heart ached with a longing she didn't understand. Memories flashed, his hand brushing her cheek, her laughter echoing through a moonlit garden, the whisper of a vow beneath falling petals. No, she breathed. That's not me. It was, he said softly, before they took it from you. Before the forest rewrote what we were. Her pendant flared with heat, burning against her chest. The illusion wavered. The hall cracked. Rin, she shouted, and the real one's voice cut through the light. Seren, remember who you are. The dream shattered. She stumbled forward into the cold, falling to her knees as the vision dissolved around her. The gate loomed behind her again, quiet now. Rin was there, kneeling in front of her, one hand steadying her shoulder. Breathe, he said. She gasped, trembling. I saw it. I saw us, he nodded once. That's what it wanted you to remember. Tears welled in her eyes, anger and confusion twisting together. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me? She stared at him, voice breaking. You let me think I was cursed. That my prophecy ruined you? It did, he said softly. Because I made it happen. The silence between them throbbed like a wound. Seren took a step back, shaking her head. You loved me then. You lied to me now. Which one of those is true? Rin's eyes dimmed, and for the first time she saw it. Not the prince, not the ghost, but the man who had carried centuries of regret. Both, he said. That's the curse. The gate pulsed faintly behind them, a low, rhythmic sound like a heartbeat echoing underground. Seren looked up at it, voice trembling. And the heart, it's still ahead? Rin nodded. One more threshold. She met his eyes. Then let's finish it, the forest exhaled. Somewhere deep below, the heart stirred again. They descended through a cavern of living roots. The air was damp and heavy, the scent of moss and metal thick enough to taste. The light came from beneath their feet, slow, rhythmic pulses of gold that made the ground seem alive. Rin walked ahead, silent except for the faint hum of magic trailing him. His armor shimmered faintly, the veins of light beneath his skin growing brighter the deeper they went. Serene's fingers brushed the rough walls as they passed. The roots seemed to shift under her touch, curling slightly toward her like they recognized her. How much farther? She asked quietly. Close, he said. You'll feel it before you see it. She frowned. Feel what? The heart, he murmured. It doesn't beat like a mortal's. It remembers instead. The tunnel widened into a vast hollow chamber, glowing softly from the inside out. In its center floated a sphere of pure light, gold threaded with deep blue veins, pulsing faintly like it was alive. Every beat sent ripples through the roots around it, and with each ripple, whispers filled the air. Seren froze. The whispers spoke her name. Rin turned to her. "Don't answer them." Her eyes widened. "They sound like me." "They are," he said. "Echoes of every life the forest remembers. Every version of you that's ever been born and lost." The whispers grew louder, shaping themselves into words. "You failed me once. Don't fail again. You loved him and doomed the realm. You will do it again." Seren clutched her pendant. The silver burned against her skin. "It knows," she whispered. "It always knew," Rin said quietly. "The forest's heart doesn't forget the promises made to it. You made one." Her breath caught. "What kind of promise?" He hesitated, then said, "To return me." The words struck like lightning. "What?" Rin's gaze dropped. "When I died, you came here. You begged the forest to bring me back. You offered your memory of our love as the price." Seren felt the world tilt. "I what?" He stepped closer, his voice low and pained. "It took your past so I could live. You forgot me, forgot what we were, forgot why your prophecy existed." Her eyes filled with tears. "You mean every vision I had, every nightmare, that was it remembering for me?" "Yes," he said. "And now that you've found it again, it's calling in the debt." The heart pulsed harder, light spilling over them. Rin staggered slightly, the glow beneath his skin flaring violently. "Rin?" she said, panic rising. He dropped to one knee, gripping his chest. "It's pulling me back. It doesn't want me here anymore. It's trying to undo what you gave up." "No," Seren whispered. "No, I won't let it." She stepped toward the sphere. The whispers grew deafening now, clawing at her mind, showing flashes of her past life. Her hand in his, her lips whispering a vow of return, her tears falling onto the roots. The forest's voice surrounded her. "Give it back. Balance must be kept." Seren reached for the sphere. "Take me instead." Rin's voice tore through the noise. "Don't. It will destroy you!" Her fingers brushed the light, and the world went silent. She saw everything at once. Her past life as a seer who fell in love with a Fey prince, the war that followed, the curse that tore their worlds apart. She saw herself begging the forest to bring him back. She saw it agree, and she saw the price. It hadn't just taken her memories, it had taken her place in the world. She had been living a life that wasn't meant to exist, a borrowed space between the realms. When she pulled her hand back, she was crying. "I remember now," she whispered. "I remember all of it." Rin looked up at her, his face pale, voice trembling. "Then you know why we can't both stay." She stepped closer. "We will." "It doesn't work that way," he said, almost pleading. "One of us has to go back to sleep, Seren. One of us belongs to the forest." She shook her head fiercely. "No, not this time." He smiled, small and broken. "You're still as stubborn as you were centuries ago." The light began to spiral upward, lifting Rin slowly from the ground. His body flickered, real, then transparent, then real again. "Rin." He looked down at her, eyes full of sorrow and warmth. "You gave up everything for me once. Don't do it again." But she reached out, grabbing his hand, holding him there with all her strength. "Then we share it." The forest roared, an ancient, furious sound, and the light burst outward, swallowing them both. The light faded like dying breath. When Seren opened her eyes, the forest was silent. The roots no longer pulsed. The whispers were gone. Only the faint glow of dawn spilled through cracks in the cavern ceiling. Her hand was still outstretched, but empty. Rin was gone. Her heart clenched. "Rin?" Nothing answered. The air felt hollow, as if something vast had just withdrawn from the world. She sank to her knees, staring at the place where the heart had floated. Only a faint shimmer remained, like starlight trapped beneath water. For a moment, she thought she heard a voice, soft, distant. "You kept your promise," then silence again. Seren sat there for what felt like hours. Her pendant, once warm, had gone cold. The silver chain glinted faintly, cracked down the middle. When she finally stood, the ground beneath her feet shifted. The roots that once curled around her boots loosened, retracting slowly into the earth. The forest was letting her go. She stumbled toward the tunnel, every step heavier than the last. Above ground, the light of morning burned through the fog. The trees looked different, quieter. She realized with a slow ache that the forest wasn't pulsing anymore. Its magic had gone still, and yet she could feel him. Faintly, like a heartbeat under the earth. She turned back to the clearing and knelt, pressing her palm against the soil. "I told you I wouldn't let you go," she whispered. "Not even the forest gets to decide that." For a long time, nothing happened. Then, just as she began to rise, something stirred. A shimmer spread beneath her hand, faint and blue. The light grew until it pooled like water around her palm. Rin's voice, faint and unsteady, filled the air. "Seren," she froze, tears rushing to her eyes. "Rin, where are you?" His voice was everywhere, gentle, close. "Here. The forest didn't take me. It became me." Her breath caught. "You're the heart now." "It had to choose one of us," he said softly. "But you changed the balance. You shared the price. Now I'm bound to the forest. But it will never be your enemy again." She shook her head, voice trembling. "That's not fair," he chuckled, the sound distant and warm. "Love never is." The light beneath her hand pulsed once, twice, then steadied, glowing softly. Rin's voice lowered. "You'll have to go now. The forest will open for you. It owes you that much." "I can't just leave you," she said, her throat tight. "You already did once," he teased gently, "and you still found your way back." She laughed through her tears. "You always think you're clever. Only when it comes to you." The glow began to fade. Serene's fingers dug into the earth, desperate to hold on to something that wasn't there anymore. "What happens now?" "You live," he whispered. "And when the forest blooms again, you'll know I'm still here." The ground pulsed faintly beneath her hand. One last heartbeat. Then it went still. Seren stayed there for a long time, until the sun was high above the trees. When she finally turned away, she felt lighter, but emptier too. Every step away from that clearing hurt like tearing skin, and yet, every breath carried a strange peace. As she reached the edge of the forest, she looked back one last time. The trees stood still, ancient and silent, but where the heart once lay, faint streaks of violet light shimmered through the bark, like veins beneath skin, alive again. She smiled, wiping the tears from her face. "Then bloom soon," she whispered. "I'll be waiting." The forest rustled softly in reply, and as Seren stepped beyond its shadow, the wind carried the faintest echo of his voice, warm, tender, eternal. "You never really lost the world, Seren. You just remade it."
Tell me what kind of story you want next. Your ideas might be the next video. Also hit that subscribe button if you want the stories to never stop. See ya.